Serena and I have come for a short, late summer break to the Antrim coast. Creamy Guinness and buckets of fresh sea air. The perfect combination. Join us for some tips. We took the 2-hour ferry from our home county of Dumfries and Galloway across the Irish Sea to Belfast port. From there, it's just over an hour to the gorgeous Antrim coast and our base, the idyllic village of Cushendun. We stayed at one of the Beachview self-catering cottages that enjoy sublime views across the sea towards Scotland. The village at the foot of Glen Dun is partly owned by the National Trust due to the unique architecture. A commission by Lord Cushendun to the architect Clough Williams Ellis, famous for the fantasy village of Portmeirion in Wales. The more modest brief here was to give the village a Cornish flavour. Luckily, unlike Cornwall, it's not overrun by tourists. In addition to walks on the beach, you might be lucky to catch a regular music session at the pub, Mary McBride's. During the day, the place for a brew in the village is the Cushendun Tea Room. Now, honestly, we could have stayed in Cushen for the whole trip and been more than happy. But let's branch out. 4 miles down the coast is Cushendun, and we were strongly recommended to go to Harry's for seafood, and were definitely not disappointed. A little further along the coast and you reach the harbour village of Cornwall. Once famous for its quarries, there's little industrial activity down at the port these days, apart from the brewing of great coffee at the Twilight Coffee and Bunkhouse. When the sun is shining, this is the prime spot for watching the world and the boats go by. Now, on a rainier day, we decided to do an excursion away from the Antrim coast. We took a ferry across Lough Foyle and left Northern Ireland for a day in the Republic. The regular ferry deposits you at the port of Greencastle, and from there we headed into the Inishowen Peninsula in County Donegal. First stop, the bracing sea air at the spectacular Pollen Bay, just north of the village of Ballyliffin. This is definitely a place to work up an appetite, and we recommended Nancy's Barn for great seafood and award-winning chowder. To remind ourselves how lucky we are in the 21st century, we then visited the nearby Famine Village, where restored cottages recount the disaster that befell Ireland in the mid-19th century. It is a fascinating but sobering experience. From there, we headed to the northernmost point of the island of Ireland, and a place known to anyone who listens to the shipping forecast, Malin Head. On a better weather day, we headed to the bustling Antrim coastal town of Ballycastle, from where a regular ferry takes between 45 minutes and an hour to reach Rathlin Island, a birdwatcher's paradise and the only inhabited island in Northern Ireland. Unless you're one of the 160 islanders, you'll need to leave your car behind. You'll find a longer guide to the island on another film on the channel. Welcome to Rathlin Island. Most visitors come for the day as we did and then set off for a walk. In early September the puffins have moved on, so instead of heading for the RSPB centre we took one of the marked trails in the southeast of the island, on an elusive hunt for the local golden hare.
A lapwing.
We may not have seen any, but the air is pure and the views across the sea to the Mull of Kintyre are fabulous. And back at McQuaig's bar, the Guinness isn't bad either. Time for a swift pint and then back to the boat. Incidentally, you'll find possibly the best fish and chips in Northern Ireland at Morton's, back in Ballycastle. Gluten-free batter too, highly recommended. From Cushendun, a short drive up the stupendous Glen Arif brings you to the Glen Arif Forest Park. There are a number of marked trails here. We took the trail that dives down into the valley and takes you past thundering waterfalls. The park is a national nature reserve. Look carefully amongst the ferns and mosses and you might just spot a red squirrel. Among the 9 glens of Antrim, Glen Arif is known as the Queen of the Glens, and it's not hard to see why. You'll see regular reminders that Game of Thrones was filmed up and down the coast, for example in the caves of Cushendun. But a far more interesting feature of the caves is that there is an isolated house on the other side. The house on this old drone footage has recently been demolished, and a secret buyer is constructing a luxury residence away from prying eyes. Now, no visit to the Antrim coast is complete without a visit to the Giant's Causeway. Much of the coast is quiet in September, but the Causeway is a magnet for tourists from all corners of the globe and is a year-round attraction. There's not much you can do about the sky-high parking charges, but we did time our visit for late afternoon in order to avoid most of the coach parties. Now, I've been a number of times over the years, but this geological wonder will always remain an incredibly impressive sight. So there you have it, some ideas for a relaxed few days in the northeast corner of Ulster. A great place to unwind.